Good morning, sixth graders, and welcome to week 5. Last week we wrapped up our land biomes study, and so this week we're going to start with aquatic biomes or water biomes. We're really going to focus on the water ecosystems that you are already familiar with, like freshwater and saltwater ecosystems. Stay tuned and get ready for this week's episode. This is Brain Science with Mrs. McLean. Season 1, Episode 5, Aquatic Biomes, Part 1 of 2. We're going to start off talking about freshwater because it's most familiar to you guys. You guys live right near the Wabash River, which is a freshwater river. Rivers and streams are both freshwater, and they are known for their constant moving or flowing. Streams are more shallow and rivers then are deeper. In rivers, there's going to be soil washing constantly, which makes it have a muddy look, but it also gives that river a lot of nutrients. Along both streams and rivers, you're going to find plants that grow along the banks and different species that are adapting to whether it is a slow or a fast-moving stream. Ponds and lakes are also freshwater ecosystems. However, they do not flow. They are completely enclosed. Ponds are going to be more shallow, and sunlight's going to be able to reach the bottom. Lakes are going to be deep, and water is going to be really dark and cold. But both ponds and lakes have plants that surround the shore. There's going to be a lot of animals that live near the surface, but not very many are going to live in the deep, colder parts of the water that don't receive the sunlight. Moving on to the saltwater ecosystems. First up is the open ocean. And the open ocean is just what it sounds like. It is the far out, open, as far out as you can see, parts of the ocean. And it's divided up into 3 different zones. You have the sunlit zone, twilight zone, and the dark zone. Photosynthesis, which is key to plant growth, can only happen in that sunlit zone, only because there's not much light that reaches the twilight or the dark zone. And we all know from our study of photosynthesis that plants need sunlight in order to go through photosynthesis. A lot of fish in the open ocean are going to stay in that middle twilight zone during the day so they can stay safe. And it's not too hot, it's just a perfect temperature. But then as the night comes, they're going to go up to the shallow sunlit area in order to feed as the sun has gone down and there's not as many predators. The next saltwater ecosystem that we're going to talk about is the coastal ocean. And this is the part of the ocean that if you've ever traveled to the beach, then this is where you have been. And the coastal ocean is the part of the ocean that is just right along the coastline. Sunlight is always going to be able to reach the bottom because it's pretty shallow. And there's going to be a high biodiversity, meaning there's a lot of different plants and animals that can survive in this area. This is because the nutrients are going to be washed into the ocean from different rivers and streams that flow into it. Humans are going to impact this area the most simply because we have oil spills along our coastlines and the pollution that runs off from our groundwater or just our trash is always going to end up right there on the coastal line. The coral reef ecosystem is our last ecosystem for the day, and it's also a saltwater ecosystem, and it is by far my favorite of the things that we've talked about today, simply because it is so beautiful. It is found in tropical waters, which are warm waters, and it is an underwater structure made from the outside skeletons of tiny soft-bodied animals that are called coral. The coral reefs are actually used to protect coastlines from storm damage and erosion that could happen. They also provide shelter to many animals like eels and shrimp and crabs and snails and other small fish. If you have ever watched Finding Nemo or Finding Dory, then you should be familiar with these coral reefs. that are found there in the movie. In your assignment this week, you're going to be reading about coral reef, and the article you're going to be reading is called Reef Rescue, and then you have some questions to answer. I've taken this article from ReadWorks, but instead of having you guys log into readworks.org, I just simply sent you the PDF, and you can circle and answer the questions and then send it back to me like we have been doing. For your journal writing this week, you're going to look at this picture, which is called a mangrove. And I am asking you to identify some other organisms that you think would live near these mangroves. Okay, and you're just going to list them and tell me why that they would share habitat. Mangroves are found in saltwater, and they live in tropical ecosystems along a coastline. I'm excited to see the list that you've come up with. Here's a hint, use Finding Nemo. And that's a wrap for week number 5, guys. Stay tuned for next week when we talk about estuaries and the wetlands. Go ahead and get started, get your assignments done, and I'll see you back here next week. If you have any questions, email me. Bye.